Hi, good people. Happy Saturday. It's Sherry. I am here with some free and valuable information for you. So it's information that you can use to help yourself as well as others. I've prepared it, I've researched, and I have an interesting topic for you tonight. I'm going to be discussing sexual trafficking with non-consensual victims using broadcast. Okay, so this is sex trafficking with a new spin, okay, in this 21st century advanced satellite-based technology era that we're living in. Okay, so now basically, like I said, they're doing it with EEG Heterodyning, also known as cloning, to make a copy of brain signatures, and then they are selling the footage from the assault broadcast, because they can assault your brain, your body, and other things, and then they sell that footage as a live stream. They live stream it while it's being done. So anybody, like I said, could become a victim. So good people, that's who I'm broadcasting for, and to is good people, not perfect people. I didn't say perfect people, good people. Okay, pay attention, because this is information that the criminals already know. The criminally minded, not just low-level criminals either. There's ones high up on the power pyramid, okay? So they know about this already, okay? And what they're finding it humorous is that you guys don't know. The good people, the average Joes of the world, the average people, good-hearted people. So let me explain, okay? I won't take much of your time. Join me, all right? We're going to be talking again, just in case you want to see a visual. Here, okay? So broadcast sex trafficking, okay, using a forced broadcast, in the way that they're doing that. The how is they're using a technique called EEG Heterodyning, which is also referred to as cloning. So making a copy of brain signatures of various people and then mixing those. Heterodyning. Dining is hetero is opposite, so taking two opposite brain signatures from two different people, and dining is power. They're powerful, and then mixing them, and then once they have that, they can make like an avatar. And these brain signatures obviously are illegally obtained, okay, and they're buying them and selling them and trading them, okay, amongst each other to use to target people non-consensually. All right, so if you have brain signature, which you do, okay, they're unique like fingerprints, and you do not want to be used or assaulted with this technology, listen up. I'll break it down for you real quick. So that's what's going on. They live stream it and they get money when they live stream. They're like torture streams. Okay. All right. I got some. Let me follow my notes here. All right. Broadcast pimping being live streamed. Okay. Broadcast pimping coming live to a city near you, Anytown, USA. Okay. It's true. And what's going on again is they're using a forced broadcast to broadcast into and onto people, and filming that footage of it being done, and live streaming that. They have like parties, how they have like virtual gaming and hosts and everything, and viewing parties, I guess you'd call them. This is being done non-consensually on some people, okay? Because the broadcast, I've explained this before. Oh, well, again, what am I offering? Free and valuable information. Extra, come and get it, right? And just so you know, I'm not just talking. I did do my research, as always. It kind of took me a long time. It took me all day to kind of work on this, and weeks before I've been planning this one out a little bit, because I wanted to make sure that I share the information correctly, okay? And it's a serious issue. So anyways, broadcast, you've seen some of my other videos, okay? So basically a broadcast is, it's in your brain, your body, and the environment. It has to do with EMFs, okay? EMF stands for electromagnetic frequencies, okay? Whenever the brain thinks a thought or feels an emotion, that gives off an evoked potential electrically in the brain, because the brain is chemical, so is the body, but it's also electrical, okay? So what's happening is every time you think a thought or feel an emotion, that produces what's called an electromagnetic frequency. That frequency can then be read and then also be sent back in. That's how EEG heterodyning cloning works, okay? So since your brain produces EMF, so does your body. Every time you move, your brain has to send the signal to the body parts to make it move. That's why people with stroke sometimes can't move, because that signal is interrupted. So the body part can be still there, but it won't move because the brain can't send a signal to the muscles to perform that action. Okay, so you get it. It's in the brain, it's in the body, and it's in our environment all around. This broadcast is being done by electromagnetic frequencies, TV, radio, all types of internet, so all types of devices, computers, laptops, and phones. Okay, so not to mention microwaves, the infrared rays, pretty much the whole world. A lot of it runs on the direct energy that's called electromagnetic frequencies. Okay, you got that. And I've discussed it before. If you want to look at my channel, there's some older videos where I go into detail about that. All right, but you guys already know it. So again, the fact that these EMFs are in our brain, body, and environment, and it can be broadcast. Now remember, broadcast is a verb. It means to broadly cast a frequency, right? Frequency, wave, same meaning, different words. Broadcast, same meaning, different word. It's a verb. Radiates, right? You're radiating a frequency over an area, okay? So, with this ability to broadcast an electromagnetic frequency into the brain, what now? There is a, hang on, let me just show you something here. All right. So again, we talked about the brain is chemical and electrical, okay? Picture that. It's a brain, but it's also electrical chemical. Every time it thinks of thoughts or feels an emotion, it lights up. All right. That's how EEG heterodyning works. Because, and again, here's another picture, just so you get an idea. The brain, every time it thinks a thought or feels an emotion or moves a body part, it putting off an electromagnetic frequency. Okay, so it makes them, and it also can receive them. So the brain is a big transmitter receiver device, right? That's how it can be synced with computers, which is referred to as BCI sometimes. That's brain computer interface. Interface is another fancy word for syncing. Like your Bluetooth, you sync your phone to your computer, you sync your phone to another phone. The human brain can be synced with devices. Of course, you know this. Okay, we're so far in the stream of technology. Yeah, that's possible. And if you need some proof of that, all you have to do is call over to your local VA. If you see soldiers that have prosthetics from losing limbs, or even people that have lost their limbs due to disease processes, you can get a chip in your head and have it synced with your prosthetic arm or leg, and the signals will make the prosthetic leg or arm move. Okay, that's a form of BCI. You follow me here? So it's syncing. What I'm trying to hit home with is that the brain is able to be synced with devices. Okay, there's also a device called the alter ego, made by an Indian scientist, neuroscientist, Arnav Kapoor. Alter ego, it's called. Basically, he puts on a little headset. Instead of actually saying the words to the computer or typing them in, he just thinks them in his head, and it catches the signals and reads, and basically he communicates with the computer. If you ask it a question, you can Google on there, you can do anything. Okay, so that's where we're headed. BCI. There's also games too. I think there's one like a Star Wars one where it's called The Force. You put the EEG on your head and you can, you sync it with the little computer thing, and you can make the ball move up and down with your brainwaves, with your EMFs. Okay, so this is all over now. It's not a secret anymore. Again, learn that word, love that word. EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. You got it. We discussed this before. All right, we're going to move kind of quickly tonight. The neurons in your brain. This is you. This is your personality. Anytime you think a thought or feel an emotion or move a body part, these things are firing. What a network, huh? And every time they fire, they give off an electromagnetic frequency, right? It's an evoked potential. It's electrical in there. Right? And all this time, you just thought it was like a hamster spinning a wheel. No. It's a little bit more than that. So, again, emotions. The major ones, or all of them, but the major ones, mad, sad, glad. I just thought that was a neat picture, so I printed that out just because it hits home, because there's so many emotions, and then there's sub-emotions underneath those. We're humans, we feel so much, and every time we feel something, that gives off an evoked potential, which is an electromagnetic frequency, okay, which is how this technology works. Okay, also the body, okay, every time you move a body part, so think of it. Body is complex, right? You got your upper quadrant, your lower quadrant, all the organs in there, your legs, your arms, all that. Okay? And every time you move a little body part, blinking, coughing, winking, snapping your fingers, waving, writing, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, that all takes movement that's highly coordinated by the brain that sends a signal to those muscles to make those body parts move. Okay? Which is another way on how it can be synced, right? Because EMFs. To sync, you just have to harness into the EMFs of the body and brain. Well, of the brain, okay? That controls the functions of the brain and the body functions, motor, they call that, okay? And they're in the environment. Wonderful. You guys are getting it. Okay, so now, how is this trafficking being done? All right, so you have the brain, it works on EMFs. Now, those EMFs can be read with a machine, or with equipment. It's called EEG. Okay, that stands for electroencephalogram. Okay, electro, here's what it looks like. Electro is an electricity, encephalo because of the head, okay, and gram because it's measuring. What is it measuring? All those waves mean something, okay, to the person who can read them. Now, this is one that's done, with the cap and everything, okay? This is what you get if you go to the hospital. But now, these can also be done remotely, where you don't have to have the cap, okay? That's why it's called cloning. And EEG Heterodyning, same thing. Okay? Follow me. So hang on, let me check my notes here. Yeah. Okay, so with the EEG Heterodyning, cloning, one person can have on a headset, okay, and broadcast into another person remotely. The person can be, they don't necessarily have to be in the same room, the same block, the same city, and they can broadcast, right? Because it's a broadcast, just like the radio broadcast. You can broadcast it far, right? You can go way up in the woods of northern Wisconsin and still get a station, okay? Because you have the channel and the broadcast reaches it, right? All those, they're going through the airwaves, but they're strong, okay? Same thing with the brain. We each have our own station, okay, called the brain signature. So if someone has equipment, they can actually broadcast into you without you having the equipment, okay? And they need your brain signature to do that, though. All right? Once they do that, though, then they can set up EEG heterodyning / cloning. Okay. You've seen virtual gaming. You've heard of that, right? You understand when maybe multiple players get on and they go in the chat rooms and they can actually wear headgear and goggles, and they even have the ones you can put on your hands and your wrist, little sensors and stuff. You've seen that. Okay, well, I'm just going to be honest with you. There is one for sexual activity, okay, and that is where this whole trafficking comes in, okay? This is virtual sex. Now, this is more advanced virtual sex than what I grew up with, because when we thought of cyber sex, virtual sex, it was just, people had Skype, and you just seen each other and that was it. Okay, well that was 10, 15 years ago. Now it's advanced to the point of you can actually have sensations while you're having virtual sex. And how do you do that? By using the headgear and the eye gear and all the equipment. And consensually, this works by you would have two people and they would broadcast into each other. Okay, you get it? And then you can, because remember, every thought, every emotion is an EMF, and so is every body movement, body part, okay? So you can trigger something and, a nerve or a body part on the other person to stimulate it, right, with an electromagnetic frequency, okay? Excuse me one moment. Okay, there, something funny was on my screen. And you couldn't, look at myself with something on my face like that. But, okay, so you understand. This is broadcast. You're taking a frequency from one place and sending it to another, okay? Humans have their own brain signatures, just like fingerprints, they're unique. And once you have someone's brain signature, you can broadcast into them. Sounds funny, but that's what it is, because remember, the brain receives electromagnetic frequencies, okay? So for virtual sex trafficking, people actually do this consensually with each other. There's also a virtual sex prostitution, where girls and guys go online and offer their services, and it's a whole virtual sex world. Okay, I don't know anything about that. Okay, but that's what's going on. Some people are into that. Okay, I've heard it's very addictive. because it is a form of mind control. You're taking two brains and bodies, and even though it's remotely, you're still stimulating them. Okay, so now that's all fine and dandy if it's consensual. Whatever people do amongst each other, okay. Now here's the kicker. Okay, it can be done non-consensually. And this is with, again, brain signatures, because brain signatures are unique and everybody has their own, like fingerprints. Brain signatures right now are being bought and sold and traded on the internet for a price. Okay? So there's a whole sex trafficking ring, a cyber one, that exists. And so they're putting people who wouldn't normally, sign up for that type of thing, and they're buying and trading their brain signatures. Okay? You get it? So you can be virtually sex assaulted without your permission, broadcasted into without your permission. Okay? This is a big crime. Now, again, this involves the underworld of sex trafficking. Some people do it voluntarily, and some don't. Okay? It all depends on if they have access to your brain signature. All right, and there's a money trail. Obviously, they make money off of this. Like I said, they have hosting parties. They're called. They have a host, and they live stream. Okay, and this, like, it's an underground world, and people do it with each other consensually. And I guess there's a lot of multiple partner type of sexual activity. So it can get pretty grimy. You know what I mean? Not judging. I'm just saying it can get. That's an underground world. That's a subculture. Okay, that many people don't. Get into, or if they do get into, they get out of, an element of danger, I would think. So yeah, apparently in this network too, there is, just like with regular sex trafficking, or even the drug trafficking, the drug trade, you have your network of people. You have your, you have your pimps, which are also hackers, okay, getting these brain signatures, right? Kind of like how real pimps would pull in people. Hey girl, let me talk to you, and let me, trying to reel in victims, right? Hanging out at the Greyhound stations and whatnot. You've been warned. You know all about that. I hope you guys do. You can usually tell they look predatory, or they're too nice. You ever have somebody trying to be too nice and you don't know them? They're offering you gifts and stuff, trying to groom you. Oh, no, thank you. Anyways, on the internet, there is the same type of characters. You got your pimps who are also hackers, because they have to know how to do this, right? Get you all set up. Get your brain signature. Get you on there, get you set up so you can receive broadcasts from Tom, Dick, or Harry that you didn't give access to, right? Okay. Then you got your, who else? Let me just look at my notes here. You have your, so you'd have your pimps, you'd have your scouts, the people that are looking for more victims, more targets, more people to add to the list, okay? You got your honeypots, you got your Romeos. Those are sex trafficking terms. That's a honeypot is a person, usually attractive, obviously, and they try to pull people into the fold, the trafficking fold, with their beauty, obviously. That's how they get people, okay? And they pretend to like them, and they pretend to, just lay it on thick, and that's why I call it a honeypot, because they're so good. They look so good, and, they're just so what you want. Everybody likes honey, and then you get your hand stuck in that honeypot, and it's so sticky, and you can't get it out, honeypot. And Romeos, that's another word for pimps. They try to romance you. Oh, hi, you're so pretty, no, you're so special, and you guys can imagine. So this is just like they're in the real world. Now they're on the internet. The internet's, just so you know, there's a network on there. And the problem is this is being done non-consensually. All right. And they're making money because they live stream it when it's all said and done. Okay. They get your brain signature and they, copy it, and they, they do an EEG heterodyning, and they broadcast right into you. Because remember, we each have our own brain signatures, like a station. So once they've got your station, they can tune into your channel, which is okay, but not if you didn't give them permission. Okay, that's what we're dealing with here. All right, so where are they getting these brain signatures from? Well, I have a feeling it's on the dark net, because there's a lot of things on the dark net. I've never been on there. I don't suggest going on there, but there's things like rapes, all types of depravities. It's not worth mentioning. Okay, but depravity, that's on the dark net. So if somebody is stealing brain signatures and selling them and trafficking, That would also be on the dark net. To reason, right? Okay. Much of this trafficking happens at night. That's when these particular group of people, trafficking group, that's when they operate. You know, these are not early birds, early to bed, early to rise. No, these are people that are staying up all night. Okay, they're having all-nighters. They're having hosting parties. Okay, all access. All right, so the internet is where it's happening. Sex trafficking. Okay. So you think that doesn't, affect me. I'm a good person. I go to church. I go to work. I pay my taxes. I raise my kids. I try to do right by people. I don't have any enemies. I don't owe anybody any money. You know, so that means you're not capable of getting put on it. Good people, I'm sorry to say, you can get put on it. You really can. Because all they need is a brain signature to do it. Okay? So you and you and you and you, just so you know, that's the horror of this crime. Because with regular trafficking, you can avoid it, right? You stay away from that. You guard yourself. You set your boundaries. You let people know. But with this internet kind, this is a dangerous one. Okay, and it's not going away. No, not in this 21st century that we're living in. It's only going to increase, especially with 5G. That's going to speed up the whole internet. So they'll be able to broadcast faster and to more people, and they're already making money off of it. Okay, that's why this is important. All right, so let me look at my notes here. See what else. Yeah, this is mainstream now. This sex trafficking online. Okay. And anyone and everyone can become a victim as long as they get that brain signature. All right, who the heck is giving them these brain signatures, right, on the dark web? How do they get there? How do they get there in the first place? Who's got them? Who is doing this, right? Who are these people? Well, let me just, again, show you, get the idea. Your brain is a big broadcasting. It can receive, and it can send, okay, off EMFs. Just know that, okay? And again, so you get an idea, they travel through the air, 186,000 miles per second through the air, traveling. Broadcast. All right, remember, broadcasting is a verb. It's broadly casting, right? Frequencies. Okay, and again, they're all over in our environment, every old where, okay, in our house, outside, in the air, everywhere, okay? That's okay. Just know it, right? We'll get into this in a minute. So again, TV, radio, internet, phones, all devices broadcast. But okay, who's doing this? Who? I have another video talking about the power pyramid, and that just breaks down, groups of people and how it kind of shakes out as far as where everybody fits in, in the power pyramid. So of course you have your elite people, which includes like secret society people, Freemasons, Jesuits, Knights of Columbus, things like that, Knights of Malta. You have your big corporations, like your Fortune 500 companies, FedEx, McDonald's, Walmart. They're the second richest family in the United States. Casinos, sports teams, big money corporations. Okay, religious entities. Also, too, you have your government branch, right? You have your federal, your state, your local. So federal, that's your, that's all our leaders. State, that's your governors. Local would be like your county executives. City would be your mayor. Okay. So, and with the government, they have their branches. Military industrial complex is a big branch and would have access to this type of technology. In fact, this technology was so high tech before that only the military industrial complex had access to it. The military industrial complex, along with, intelligence agencies, I don't want to say their names, but intelligence, that's alphabet, so Central Intelligence, FBI, those kind of people. They, and also other agencies like DOD, which is in partnership with the military, right? That's the Department of Defense that makes the weapons for the military, right? Weapons of war. DARPA, which also makes, weapons. So this was highly classified technology. Only, people high up on the power pyramid had access to this kind of stuff, broadcasting into other people, you know. However, these are different times we're living in, okay? So a lot of more average Joe people are having access to this, okay? It's becoming more mainstream, all right? So people are having access to broadcast capabilities. Remember, oh, and then again, we learned this in school, okay? Do you know that media is considered the fourth branch of the government? The unofficial media, because the power of media to influence is strong, okay? So it's, yeah, and not to be funny, but who would do all the broadcasting when you're getting these broadcasts? TV, radio, internet. Who owns the towers? Who polices the towers? FCC, right? Media is a form of communication. All the towers, who owns them? Not the satellites, but the actual towers that send in the broadcasts. Okay? So, not saying, and it's not all people in the power pyramid. It's just, I'm saying who would have access. That's the question that we're working on. Also, don't forget, along with the military industrial complex, we have the medical industrial complex. Oh, don't forget them. You know, you would be mistaken to forget them, okay? Here's a little, I've showed you this picture before. I'm going to show it to you again. Yep, medical industrial complex. Okay, there is a variety. You probably got a surgeon there in the second one, right? Maybe a regular MD doctor. Then maybe you got your dentist, maybe a psychiatrist in there, radiologist. You know, the medical industrial complex is, is pretty vast. So it's a great career, right, to help people. Okay, well, why would they have access to this type of equipment? Well, for one thing, psychiatrists in the psychiatry field, psyche, meaning the soul, soul doctors, okay, have access to this kind of things. EEGs, sure. They use methods of treatment like electrical shock therapy, as well as there's some you can do with magnets. They work with the brain, right? The psyche, the soul, which is the brain, right? Our thoughts and emotions, that's our soul, that's us, that's our personality, it's our free will and our intellect. So psychiatrists definitely would have access to this type of technology. Sure they would. Okay. Also the paramilitary. We talked about the military industrial complex. Paramilitary, that's local. Okay, so military would fight outside of the United States, right? They keep the boundaries safe, or the borders, okay? Paramilitary keeps everything safe inside the United States. So that's your police force. That's your state troopers. That's your sheriffs, your deputies, and your local, city police. They would have access to this because they can use it in times of rioting or, warfare, civil war broke out or something. Law enforcement has access to this type of equipment, okay? Which they should. They're law enforcement, okay? Who should not have access to it is other people down on the pyramid, maybe the cousin of a police officer or a friend, maybe they're passing this out amongst each other and shouldn't be. It's coming down the pipeline somehow, okay? All right, who's underneath them? You got your military, your media, your medical industrial complex. Underneath them is organized crime. That's right. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, okay? Organized crime. They're criminals, but they're organized. Well, criminally minded. And not all people are bad. People do bad things. Good people do bad things, okay? It's the ones that seem to like it and don't stop after they're told to. That's the real, that's a real criminal personality type. Okay, there's not a lot of those, thank God. All right, yeah, here you go. Just a little picture. Organized crime. It's kind of funny how they're like brown color. Like, what are they trying to be, like Italians or Serbian? I don't know. It's just they're brown colored, and then the other one, look, there's a white dude in the front with his little hat. He looks like a courier, don't he? Like a drug runner. Right, because that's in the power pyramid too, because you got your organized crime. That'd be your mafias. I know we always think of Italian, but there's also Russian, there's also Jewish, there's also Chinese mafia, and those people have people underneath them, which are the street gangs. And with the street gangs, you have your couriers, your drug couriers, your mules, your sex trafficking. I mean, there's sex trafficking, obviously, and drug trafficking at all levels, but you get it, right? So now, we have people with criminal personality types, criminal intentions, and they're having access to broadcast capabilities, to broadcast into other people. people's brains and bodies with a broadcast. What can you do with it? Well, it's a microwave. It's a beam it's a frequency. It doesn't just come to say hi and tickle you. I know it's called a wave, but it doesn't just go hi. No. Microwave. Have you ever put a piece of meat in the microwave or a frozen dinner and you see how it heats it up so quickly and what happens afterwards? Yeah, it's piping hot and steaming and it's cooked and everything. And yeah, you can even like defrost hamburger and chicken breast in there. Okay. That same type of technology, they can aim that on your brain with the broadcast. Okay, so if that can do that to a piece of meat, what can it do to the human brain? Hurt it, bruise it, permanently damage it. Also the body. You hit it on somebody's joints, you hit it on somebody's skin. You can hurt somebody. Even if you don't see the effects right away, that tissue is being damaged, producing maybe cancerous cells. That's how serious this is. Now, I've mentioned in other videos about mind control. That's another aspect of this technology. That's a little deep, and we're not going to go into that in this video, but that's a capability. Also, this broadcast with the waves, they can also do something called a theta wave knockout, okay? Which is if you beam, they use this for surgery at the hospital, they can use a frequency to put you into an unconscious state. With a frequency. Yeah, they do surgeries now. They can actually remove tumors and everything with ultrasound frequency. They're able to start treating the body and the brain instead of using chemicals like we've been used to, pills and chemicals and all that, to now using frequencies. They can produce the same effects that chemicals will, because with a frequency you can trigger a hormone or trigger a gland or trigger the cells, because that's what chemicals do, right? When you take a pill or a vitamin or something, it stops the production or stimulates the production of something that you want or don't want, right? Usually if there's something off, your body's underproducing or overproducing. So if you stimulate, it'll produce it more, or if it's not stimulating it, if it's not producing it, you can stimulate it to produce. If it's producing too much, you can trigger it to stop producing so much, right? That's how like fertility treatments work. If you're having a hard time getting pregnant for men or women, they can trigger that production of, reproduction chemicals, right? And women, what is it? Oh goodness. With women, it's estrogen and all those things that go into, creating a baby, and for men to stop, they can increase those with chemicals, with pills, but they can also do the same thing with frequencies if they beam it on that gland or organ or cell. Just so you know, medicine is heading that way. Okay? All right, so broadcast, it's wonderful. Frequencies, I mean, it's wonderful. It can be used as tools, great tools in medicine, and in the hands of criminal-minded people, it can be used as a weapon. All right, so we're talking about the power pyramid. Who's doing it? We kind of figured that out, right? Why are they doing it? That's another question. Why? Why would somebody take all this time to get brain signatures and trade them and deal them and trade them and, buy them and sell them and go through all that work and just to mess with somebody and beam in and torture and, broadcast a frequency on their brain and body? Why would they do that? Well, for one thing, torture and sadistic. If you've seen some people, maybe watch a movie, might I suggest Hostel. It shows you about how some people pay just to torture others. I don't want to talk too much on that because that's just negative, but we're being honest, and I want to help you. And there are people, if you don't know this, you better know, you better ask somebody. There are people in this world who like to hurt others just for the sheer enjoyment of it. It's a power and control thing, okay? And like torturing them, okay? Rape, stuff like that. There's people that watch rape porn, okay? So that's stuff that's on the dark web. That's where these, and not just on the dark web, on the regular web too, but just little sites and stuff, they're coded. Regular people wouldn't know that because you don't go there. But people who know about that lifestyle and are part of that underground subculture, they know where these sites are at, okay? So power and control, also money. That's right. Because why would criminals sit and do this? Maybe if they're a criminally minded person, but they're not, they're not a sadist. They don't want to torture anybody. What joy do they get off of this? Well, they get money from live streaming. It's like drugs. They might not even watch the live stream. They might not even like it. But if they know other people are buying it, they might indulge in it. Again, this is forcing in broadcast to people to assault them. their bodies and their minds. You can even assault their genitals anywhere in the body. Once the broadcast can broadcast onto you, it's an EMF, and the body itself is, it literally touches you, just like with brain surgery. The knife, the scalpel never touches your head. The neurosurgeon is in one room with his computer, you're in the other room with the transducer on your head, and they take the measurements, and they can literally beam in, broadcast the frequency into your brain to remove the tumors without ever touching you with their hands. No cuts, no incisions, no blood on the outside. Isn't it amazing? Yes, when it's used as a tool. There's people out here that are using it as a weapon. All right, so I digress. I said I wasn't going to ramble. Let me just check my notes here. Okay, so you understand you can be victimized. Anybody can. Anybody. Even children. All they need is a brain signature, okay? And then they scan you in. It's called scanning, okay? The goal is for hive mind for humanity. That's the bigger goal in general, is to have everybody on hive mind, to be telepathic, and like this, hive mind, with a common goal, which would be a good idea if we were all, if it's a positive goal. However, you see what happens when people have access to power, what can be done. Also, too, with the money trail, I just want to say that people like the medical industrial complex, they are getting paid off of this because they are using people as guinea pigs, okay, like this. So they have access to this technology, and they're running research programs, human experimentation, non-consensual. There's actually a book called Guinea Pigs, which talks about that, human guinea pigs, people being used in non-consensual experiments. There's examples from it in the past. You say, oh, they wouldn't do that. Oh, but they would. They've done it before. They've continued to do it. Tuskegee experiment, San Quentin experiment on prisoners, the radiation in the oatmeal, the Puerto Rican women given herpes, the children with developmental disabilities given hepatitis B. Sure, they've done that. So, and then they can make money off of it. Because why? They're testing all this technology. Yeah, you don't think they can test mind control syncing technology without using people, and not every person is a volunteer. So yeah, this is the same technology used in trafficking. Okay, broadcast pimping. The goal is for hive mind. All right. So this technology is here to stay, everybody. Okay, good people. It's here to stay. And we're entering into a new era. I kind of feel like we're in that age of, like, how like our great grandparents were the first to see like trains being built, like when the tracks were being laid down, and they were first coming, like you could travel long distances across the whole United States and like ship things that never before, produce and stuff. Imagine like if you lived in the Midwest before, and like it was in the middle of winter, nothing grows, man. It's all like desolate here, no tree, no leaves on the trees. Every day is cold. It gets dark at like 6 p.m. It's just, desolate. I feel like I'm a southerner at heart, or like I could be in, living in a tropical area. I'd be so happy, stick me in Florida, but that's not to be right now. That's okay. I digress. But how they were living in those times, and like if you were living in the Midwest and it was, wintertime and you didn't have oranges, you just didn't have oranges unless you were going to ride horseback, and take your buggy and go get oranges in Florida. But that would have taken what, how many weeks to complete that trip. Nowadays, and then, with trains, then they could ship it. So then they could be in like, the Midwest and get oranges in the middle of winter. So that was amazing to them. Same thing with planes. I think about how when planes were invented, I still marvel at planes. Like literally, people, we can like get into a plane and fly in the sky with the birds and not die. That's the key thing, and not die. Like be up. Oh my goodness, it's amazing, right? It's amazing. This technology is amazing. So we are also on the cusp of something great here with this mind control technology. Okay, this ability to be telepathic, to broadcast into each other with frequencies. I mean, it's an amazing thing. It can be used for good. However, there's, with criminally minded, they always ruin it. You got that person like, oh, you always ruin everything, The criminally minded and the wicked are ruining it for the rest of us, Because for one thing, you don't just broadcast into somebody without asking permission, right? Should be consensual. It's our brains, but because the technology is powerful and invisible, they have deniability. Then that's is part of the reason we're doing this video, right? Because we want to bring knowledge about it, awareness. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. And I know you good people, I know you're smart too, you know, I know my niche. Like, come on guys, vibe with me. We're good, right? We're good. So here is this technology is here to stay. When 5G comes, it's going to increase, okay, because it's going to get faster, which means they can upload and live stream quicker. Okay, more victims, more brain signatures to buy, sell, and trade, more trafficking. Okay, so our job is to learn about this. Okay, so I've given you a lot of information tonight, a lot. Do not have cognitive dissonance. You know what that is? Good people, smart people, you know. It means like when something is so traumatic, like your brain, it's kind of like denial, like your brain just shuts it out. Like, no, that can't be true. They can't broadcast into me. They wouldn't do, they can't get my brain. Yes, I wouldn't lie to you. I really wouldn't. If you feel like you're questioning it, you should. And you should do your own research. Definitely. I'll give you some ideas of where to do your research at, okay? Because this rabbit hole runs real deep, all right? So keep speaking out on this. Well, do your research first. 2 books I'm going to tell you. Wonderful books by wonderful men, both doctors. One of them is Dr. Robert Duncan. He used to work for the intelligence agencies and for the Department of Defense, and he helped develop some of this equipment, this technology that's being used. He has a lot to say about it. Very fascinating. Keep in mind that he is, what is he, like a scientist? He's a doctor of, oh my goodness, I always forget. He is a physicist, I think, or physicist or an engineer, something like that, so he knows about like quantum physics and stuff like that. So hang on, there's a little fly on my screen. So when you read his material, just know that you're going to have to keep referencing, and that it's going to seem, if you're not familiar with that type of language, you're going to have to do a lot of cross-referencing, but it's worth it, and he makes it as reader-friendly as possible. It's good stuff. But if you want to, also too, Dr. John Hall, he wrote a book called Guinea Pigs. Okay, so Dr. Robert Duncan, his book is called Project Soul Catcher. So soul, psyche, right? Catching our souls, like dream catcher, but your soul. I don't want my soul caught. Nobody does. That's a good book, though. Project Soul Catcher. Now, Dr. Hall, he actually is a person who was targeted with this type of technology by a local private investigative agency in his town. And it was a retaliation act against him and his girlfriend, and it got so bad. You should read his story. He has a tale to tell. His book is very reader-friendly. And he talks about, like he said, the book is named Guinea Pig, so it talks about the history of non-consensual experimentation on citizens and what that means and how it's still being done, and how a lot of the advanced satellite-based technology obviously is being tested on non-consensual guinea pigs. They have to test it somehow. So, that's 2 good reference points. And they'll explain in there the EEG heterodyning / cloning. Now remember, cloning is just to make a copy, to duplicate. Well, what are they duplicating? A copy of your brain signature. And then once they copy it, then they mix it. That's hetero. So they're taking 2 brain signatures, hetero, opposite, from 2 different people, and then mixing them. Dyning, which dyne means power. So mixing powerful brain signals, okay? Making a copy of one, and then mixing them. Okay, it creates like an avatar situation where you can broadcast. That's where the broadcast, once you have a copy of that brain signature, then you can broadcast into them. Don't mean to point at you. You can broadcast into them, which is not a good thing if it's non-consensual. Who in the heck wants somebody broadcasting into their brain? Nobody, especially when it's used in a trafficking situation. To broadcast to your genitals and your mind, your body. Not right. So yeah, keep doing your research, and make sure, because this is bizarre sounding technology. Doesn't matter though. The truth is stranger than fiction. But make sure when you speak about this, do your research first. Don't just use my video, obviously. Do the research on the professionals who've researched this, who've worked with this, who've helped develop it. Look at the government documents about it that say right there in plain English. And you'll see the answers for yourself. Once you know the answers for yourself and you feel confident, then you can start sharing, and even just spread the word about, oh, hey, did you hear about that? And then kind of powwowing with other people, that helps to shed light on the matter as well. Because then other people, yeah, did you see that, da-da-da? And You get the conversation going, right? It's easy to fool a couple people, but not everybody. So trust me, again, good people. The criminals already know about this technology. They are banking. They are finding it humorous that the good people don't know about it. Okay, and that's not, that burns me. Don't just because now I didn't say perfect people. Okay, because some people would say, oh, I'm not good. I'm good. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, big ones. But good people. I'm still a good person. So I'm talking to you guys too, you other good people. The criminally minded people are banking that we don't know about this because it makes their crimes easier. We're sitting ducks. We all got brain signatures. They can just play in them all day. It's invisible technology. They have deniability on this. So we need to learn about it. Do your research. Find out about it. Because then they won't be able to hide it anymore. Okay? And then we'll be at the stage where we can address it. Okay? But before we can do that, remember, we're on the cusp of greatness here. But we got to be careful because this greatness can be weaponized. It is being weaponized, okay, already. So we got to make sure, we got to get on board. The criminals know what's going on. Now we got to get on board. There's no reason. They're not smarter than us. They're just sneakier. So they've got access to this info, okay? Not everybody who has access to it is a criminal. But that's why the good ones are making it known. People like Dr. Robert Duncan, people like Dr. John Hall, other people who, in leadership, government positions that, that tell us about this, that post those documents. They're there for anybody who wants to read them. It's just, you gotta want to know it, and you gotta know you need to know it. That's why I said it's free and valuable information. Sometimes it's information that you didn't even know you needed to know. Okay? So I will close up here. I just want to say, be careful when you're out and about, because how these people are getting brain signatures. Again, we talked about how they come from, the medical field when they're doing MRIs and those kind of scans and stuff, sleep studies. They can get your brain signatures then, especially the medical field, the psychiatric. Military can get their hands on anything, but the medical field, I think definitely in the psychology field, I think that's a big source of wheeling and dealing in brain signatures over there. So besides that, okay, also be careful. Be careful of the whole internet. Be careful who you're friend requesting, who you're accepting, who you're talking with online. You got honeypots and Romeos and internet hustlers and internet pimps right online, okay? Women too. Don't think that these are just men. Women too, coming across all sexy. You know how it is, and sometimes even, with handsome men, you go, oh, well, they got to be nice. They're handsome. No, that's not how it works, right? The inside is not reflected by the outside, but because we're so visual, that's what we see. Oh, they're handsome. They must be nice. No. Again, they particularly use attractive people to be honeypots and to be to help lure people in. Of course, you'd have to have somebody attractive to be able to do the luring, right? Okay. So be careful about on the internet, of course. Always use your etiquette. Be careful at places like bars, okay? Because the same type of internet hustlers, internet pimps, internet Romeos, they're also at the bars and stuff. People, I'm not judging. People with drug addictions are usually, sometimes they'll be involved in those sex trafficking online things, virtual prostitution and all that. A lot of them will frequent bars. I'm just saying. I don't want you scanned in. I don't want you added to that. You don't want this. This is a bad thing. Also, liquor stores. Again, this is where predators are going to be. I'm just generalizing here. I know that everybody who goes to a liquor store and everybody who goes to the bar and everybody on the internet are not bad people. I know this because I'm there, right? I've gone to a bar before, bars. I've gone to clubs. I've gone to liquor stores. Which I'd rather go to the grocery store to get mine. For some reason, I don't know, the liquor store itself I'd rather go to the grocery store. I figured that out. Or it might be the liquor store by my house. They're always like super friendly. Hi, man. Like they know me. Wonder why. Be careful at the liquor stores. Be careful at the corner stores. Okay. Be careful when you're going to places that are affiliated. And by affiliated, I mean maybe mafia owned and controlled, operated. Like I said, there's obviously Italian mafia, so Italian restaurants and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying, just be careful, because if they're involved in mafia stuff and they're buying, selling, and trading, trafficking with brain signatures, if they see somebody that catches their eye, boop, 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 scan you, and you'll be online as the avatar, and being assaulted. You won't want that. Okay? Sometimes you can't avoid it, but just giving you advice here. Also, too, watch out for any, what is that, sleeping dragon technologies? I think, yeah, I don't know. Beware of the sleeping dragon. You know what I mean? When somebody makes all your technology and all your gadgets, you know, you just got to be alert to that, right? If I were a spy, I'd be, and I was making these person's gadgets, I'd put spy stuff in there. Wouldn't you guys? Right? Yeah, you would. We all would. Like, that'd be so easy. Like, just put a tracker on each little laptop or each phone, you know? And then you'd have a call center with people logging in, you know, and hearing all the conversations. Right? Why not? Beware of the sleeping dragon. Beware of everything. But yeah, especially people who make your technology, because this is advanced satellite-based technology type of cybercrimes, right? So, okay. Just saying, they're not the only ones. In-person associations. Watch your friends and your family. Okay? They can be bribed into things. They can be threatened into things. There's big rings that are run. This is trafficking. And it's cyber trafficking, but it's still a form of trafficking. So people get sucked in. Okay? Sometimes they don't even realize what they're getting into. And if they get into it, then maybe they could accidentally get you into it. You know, maybe the big mafia guy is threatening your cousin or your brother or your sister or something. Hey, if you don't bring me a name of somebody that I can put on this, broadcast, I want a brain signature, or I'm gonna, whatever to you, hurt you, or something. I don't know. Usually they have threats of violence or death, right? Or bribes. They'll try bribes. Hey, if you give me what if you have a cousin or something that are heavy on drugs and they don't mean to like turn on you, but they're desperate for money that week or that day, and the big mafia guy says, hey, I'll give you 5 G's if you give me a brain signature we can get on our broadcast sex trafficking ring. They would, especially if they're addicted to drugs and they're not in their right mind at that time. They sure would. They might. They would. So just be careful. Be careful. Okay. All right. That's it. That's enough, guys. We're almost at an hour. Thank you. It's Saturday night. Welcome to Wisconsin. It's Saturday night. Just kidding. Nothing going on here. I'm working on that, but I have time to do videos. So, but I am working on that. What was I going to say? May I suggest, since it's Saturday night, may I suggest some movies that you might enjoy? Okay, that relates to this topic of trafficking. One, trafficking using broadcast, EEG Heterodyning. One movie that's good is Avatar. That explains the whole EEG heterodyning cloning process. That's what they're going through. They're going through they're getting their brain signatures cloned and mixed, and well, they have a different body, an avatar body, which is like a game, right? Virtual reality. Got it? And if I didn't mention, a lot of these assaults with the broadcast are done at night because it's easier to assault your body when you're in a REM state of sleep for some reason. When you're sleeping, obviously your brain is more relaxed, so when they're logging in, as it were, it's easier to do when you're in REM state. Okay, so a lot of this happens at night. Okay, so watch out for symptoms if you don't know what's going on and you're just thinking, oh, I keep waking up, or I'm not getting enough sleep, or I wake up in the morning and can't remember my dreams. Research this. Anyways, Avatar, that's a good movie. Also a nice little love story kind of intermingled in there. It's interesting. Also, Black Mirror, that's a Netflix series. There is an episode that is like, it's about cloning, obviously, I always want to be bringing up, EEG Heterodyning, and it's with a guy that works in an office, computer tech guy, and he has a whole private world of EEG heterodyning clone people that he's made like a game, and he's like stealing his coworkers' brain signatures and putting them into these avatars. And I won't spoil it for you, but it's really good because he gets like really power control-ish and like starts abusing his avatars and stuff because he gets mad in real life at work and they're mean to him, and when he feels like left out. So then when he has his actual like avatar, when he has their brain signatures cloned into those avatar people and his game at home, he's like really abusive and stuff, and he's like a captain. Oh my, it's really interesting, really. The cloning part. Just watch that. Black Mirror. I forget what episode, I forget what season. All of them are good though. If you are into this kind of stuff and you want to learn, if you watch Black Mirror, you will be amazed. It's so much to offer. It's totally a great show to get into. Talks about all this technology. Yep, a lot of it's about cloning, EEG heterodyning, which is a real thing. So check it out. Black Mirror, Netflix. Okay, another movie. This one is only for those of you with a strong stomach, because I can't really watch it anymore. I've seen it once or twice, and that's enough. But it's for real. It's how things work. With, I said, there's people that like to torture and be sadistic, and secret societies and all that. I think it's a Quentin Tarantino movie, but Hostel that's the European word for hotel, hostel. And these people are going to stay at a hostel in Europe, and some things start happening. And if you ever if you ever want to see something and get a taste of real life, like what can happen, like what people are capable of, and yeah, watch that movie. But be careful. There's actually three movies: Hostel 1, Hostel 2, Hostel 3. First one is the best, but they're all pretty good. It's all interesting. It's about torture and sadism and what people are capable of. Like, because you think to yourself, why would somebody go through all this trouble, steal people's brain signatures, to broadcast into them, to hurt their minds and bodies, to rape them? Why? Well, because some people just are not criminally, wrong, not just criminally minded, but they're wicked minded. They're spiritually sick. They're spiritually wicked. They just want to hurt others. And a lot of it's based on dark religions. That's their religion, is to hurt others, because that's their god of their religion. Believes in, violence, and, it's a Babylonian sex cult. So sex and violence, and not normal sex, orgy sex and forced sex and rapes and pedophilia. I mean, just not normal things. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but those kind of people do exist. And they don't usually repent. They can, though. They can. But when they're steeped in it, a lot of times they won't. So just be careful. You don't want to get caught up around somebody like that, because they can hurt you. All right. Links. I don't think I'm not gonna include any links. Basically, the point of references that I'd like to have you guys check out if you want to do your research is check out those two doctors. Dr. John Hall, guinea pigs, okay, talks about non-consensual human experimentation, especially with advanced satellite-based technology, which is what we're talking about. And also Dr. Robert Duncan, also was one of the doctors, engineers who helped develop some of this technology. He has so much to say, and he's so interesting. His book's a little heavier to read, but I would read Dr. John Hall's first. Start out with that one. It's an easy read. You could probably finish it depending on how much time you have. Like, it's a 4 hours if you read it straight through. But if you don't have 4 hours, that's okay. You can do a half hour at a time, 20 minutes. It's however you want to do it. And then read Dr. Robert Duncan's. Also, Robert Duncan did a special on Jesse Ventura's show. It was a special called Brain Invaders. So he did that was interesting too. Check them two guys out. And then you'll have some research under your belt to know what's going on, so that you can help combat this. 'Cause this is a real thing. Sex trafficking, through forced broadcast with regular people. Man, just when you thought, you can avoid all the sex traffickers, you can, keep them at bay, get away from me, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not, we're not dealing with that. Now they can hack into our brains. So, and they'll do it to anybody. Your wife, your mother, your sister, your aunt, you got kids, you're a worker, you're a student, you go to church. They don't care. Once they get your brain signature, and if they so feel like it, you are caught in their web. And right now the laws are so flimsy, partially because we don't talk about it, So I think the upper levels are just like praying. They're just like waiting to tell us the whole story. They're not going to tell us the whole story. It's like an open secret. Like, they're not saying nothing if we don't say anything. So we have to make them speak up on it. Otherwise they won't. They'll keep on being quiet. And silence is golden, yes, but not all the time. Not when you need to speak up. And now is the time we need to speak up. First, do your research, so when you talk about it, you don't sound like a flaming lunatic. There's, this is proof. There's government documents, there's projects, there's proof that these weapons exist, and there's instances where they've, been shown being weaponized on people. So, but do your research first. Get comfortable with the info, and then start sharing it, okay? Again, why is this all being done? Power and control, okay? Hive mind, that's what that is. Hive mind. So, Why ask why? All right, I'm just going to ask you guys one more thing. One more thing. Let me look at my notes here, and then I promise we're done. Yeah, we're done. I'll just ask you one more thing, okay? Maybe you hit like and subscribe. If not, that's okay. That's okay. But if you do, if you want to see more content and learn some more free and valuable information to benefit yourself as well as others, go ahead and hit subscribe. And then after you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. And what the bell does is it'll give you an alert every time that I release a new video, which I release mine every Saturday, okay? So, I mean, you could try to remember and like check, but that's pain. Just hit the little alarm bell. And they're not annoying. When they pop up on your phone, I can tell right away if I want to see it or not, and then I just swipe, and then boom. Okay, so hit like and subscribe. Make a comment, or don't hit like. That's okay, But if you enjoyed it, if you got some value, which I hope that you did, and I know that you did. I really researched this a lot, and it's information that people needed to know about this trafficking. Okay, so again, sex trafficking using EMF broadcast. Through illegally obtained brain signatures and forcing broadcast onto people to assault them, their bodies, their brains, their minds. I say brain and mind separate because the brain is the actual organ and the mind is your thoughts and emotions. So yeah, when you're beaming the microwave, it will hurt your actual brain. And obviously when your brain is hurt, it controls the function. So it will, damage your mind too, to the point of things like brain injuries, permanent brain damage. So we don't want that. Let's research it and let's talk about it. Do your research. God loves you. God loves us. Thank you for watching tonight, okay? Have a